really interesting game as Maryville, for a lack of a better word, destroyed West last week.
Yeah, like I told you last week, I think they're on their Ohio State revenge tour, like Ohio State was in the playoffs last year when they lost to Michigan. So, they weren't happy the way they lose to Alcoa, and looking to get revenge against any team that gets in their way.
Yeah, Trevor, exactly. And again, William Blount, local teams, William Blount will be hosting Clinton, it looks like. And then, as you mentioned earlier, Greenback having a close loss to Cosby last week. They playing Midway. So really interesting matchups right there. Looks like Gibbs has, couldn't tell if they won the toss, but they're electing to receive. Okay, Alcoa won, and Gibbs is elected to receive. So it looks like we are getting ready here very shortly to get this game underway. As Heath will be joining us here in a minute, but we're going to take a quick break while we get the teams ready and get this kickoff set.
Y'all are ridiculous.
Well, you also told me all the scores. You told me to rush and then did what I was supposed to do.
Alrighty. There's our sponsors above us, Dad.
Okay, good.
Okay. Cadenza. I called it Cadunza all week one until I got corrected by Dad.
The referee is Rob McConkey, umpire Randy O'Neill, headlinesman Steve Henson, the line judge is Bart Hinkle, that judge Josh Briscoe.
Hey, also fun fact, Alcoa cracked the top 100 in the High School Football America top 100 this week. We're at 98 in the nation. I always update that the last few years and watch it. Welcome back into the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. Keith Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel, and it is football time here in East Tennessee. As we're getting ready to kick things off, the Tornadoes won the toss, deferred to the second half, and so Gibbs will get the football to begin this ball game. So Kyron Tyson in the kickoff team getting themselves ready to boot this football away. Alcoa with white unis with the maroon numbers and aluminum pants and helmets, and they'll kick it off. It'll be caught in the end zone, and that will be a touchback for the Gibbs Eagles, as that was number 0, DeJuan Harris, the wide receiver, who caught it in the end zone, and the Eagles will come out now on offense. Gibbs 2-0 this season, 1-0 in region play, and a big-time region matchup tonight between them and the Tornadoes. Alcoa's first taste of Region 2 here in the Class A for classification. I can't talk tonight, Scott, excuse me. But Gibbs 1-0 as they defeated Union County in week 1 and looking to remain unblemished. They'll be led by sophomore quarterback Keith Jones Jr., who was 10 of 16 this season for 171 yards and a touchdown. He also runs the football some, so we're kind of looking at that dual quarterback threat as they'll hand the football up the middle and going nowhere on that one as he is stopped in the backfield, and that was Blair Goodson on the tackle for a loss of 2.
Yeah, Heath, looked like Tucker Ownby was the one trying to run the ball for the Eagles. Little interesting fact for you as well, Heath. Last time Alcoa and the Gibbs Eagles played was the years 75 and 76. Alcoa winning both of those, and Gibbs not able to put any points on the board in either one of those years.
Yeah, Tornadoes so far making life difficult the last 2 times they faced him. But it's been a minute, and now Keith Jones Jr. tries to roll out of the pocket and escape the pressure, and instead that is Jameer Dean and Cade Stinnett who escort him over to the sidelines. Was a little surprised, Scott, once he got out of the tackle box. He didn't maybe think about throwing that football away.
Yeah.
Instead, because he held on to it, his team loses about another 5 yards. It is 3rd and 19.
And I'm sure that's something Coach Turner will probably talk to him about on the sideline, that he needs to get rid of that ball and not take such a large loss.
3rd and 19 for the Eagles. They'll send a man in motion. They'll turn, hand the football off, and before the play can get going, there is a penalty flag on the play. I believe that's going to be a false start on the Eagles.
Yeah, it looks like it was called on the far sideline. Looking for the referee's indication. They're going to say offsides on Alcoa.
Well, Scott, a quick Hardy scoreboard update for you. Maryville leading Bearden in the first 14-0. Kingston leading Loudon 2-0 in the second quarter. Central 7, West 0 in the first. William Blount leading Clinton 14-7. And Oak Ridge beating Lenore City 28-0 in the second quarter. Jones Jr. will roll out of the pocket. This time has a little bit of room to run, but is caught quickly by Carter Cowart, who helps get him over to the sidelines. So a positive gain, but only a few yards forward for the Eagles. And so now 4th and long, and the Eagles will punt. So a quick 3 and out for the Eagles to begin the ball game.
Right, it looks like just about a 3 to 4 yard gain on that. Not much, as he was not able to get back to the original line of scrimmage.
And so now in the punt return formation is the Tornadoes. Jameer Dean waiting back near the 50 to receive.
For the Tornadoes, Dean.
The snap, the kick, and that one is going to head over towards the Tornadoes sidelines and give some really favorable field position for the Tornadoes. Let's see where the ref officially stops at. Wow. Looks like he's going to say it's all the way at the 37. Or no, 39 is where they're now officially spotted. Dean back near the 50, Scott, and that just not a great punt for the Gibbs, and not how they wanted to set up their defense to begin this ball game.
No, not exactly. About an 18-yard punt there, Heath, from Michael Van Pelt.
So your Alcoa Tornadoes will come out on offense now, led by junior quarterback Thomas Manu, who's had a fantastic start to the season. 32 of 37, 440 yards passing, completing 86% of his passes for 8 touchdowns. He's averaging 13 yards a pass. Every time he throws that football, you're looking at a first down. As he'll look to throw it now. He'll complete it to Jameer Dean. Jameer Dean breaks the tackle, and folks, that is a first down for the Tornadoes. A Maryville Top Shot Tornado first down.
And good way for Alcoa to get started, kind of get Thomas into a good rhythm already. That was a really good pass from him. Gets it in there, and Jameer takes care of the rest.
Yeah, Jameer Dean, a Division I prospect who's already received a few offers at the level. He did a really good job once he caught that to be able to shed that initial defender who was coming on him quickly and get himself out of bounds after picking up a first down. So 1st and 10 for the Tornadoes. It'll put the football at the 27-yard line. Condis Cherry in the backfield. Manu will fake the pitch to him. Manu will keep it himself. Manu will head up the middle, and a positive gain will bring up 2nd down.
Yeah, a good 8-yard run, as he really had the defender running for the running back when he pitched that or faked it, and he saw that gap and just took it right up the middle.
Wilson and Bentley.
It's almost kind of like that read option play you see a lot, Scott, at the collegiate level, where that quarterback rides the running back and watches the defensive end and makes a decision based on where he moves, on if he lets it go or holds on to it. That time, that fake pitch, he saw the defender trying to jump out, saw some open space up the middle, and took advantage of it. 2nd and 3 for the Tornadoes, 9:47 to go here in the first quarter and ticking. Tornadoes looking to score their first points of the ball game. Jacoby Cooper with a nasty juke move and picks up a first down near the 10-yard line for Alcoa.
Yeah, Jacoby's had a really good year just in the first 2 games. Already 4 receiving touchdowns. Looking to make sure he goes and gets number 5 as well.
1st and 10 Tornadoes.
Having a great start to the season. I've said it, and I'll say it time and time again. I said last year he was one of the most underrated players in our area. I thought he really grew a lot last year and made a name for himself, and he's only getting better. I'm excited to see what the future looks like for Jacoby Cooper this season, with so many fantastic weapons for Manu on the outside right now. Cooper and Abu Hanya line up to the right. Jameer Dean, single receiver to the left, and in the backfield with Manu is Condis Cherry. There's the snap. Cherry getting his first carry to the outside, turns on the Jets, and he's in for a Tornado touchdown.
And Cherry is so hard to just tackle one-on-one. He has so many good moves that you just have to attack him, and you can't let him get into his moves. But again, right into the end zone, Heath.
A Delosier Auction Tornado touchdown, and it's Alcoa who's on the board first. And now here comes the extra point as Kyron Tyson will get himself ready. Thomas Manu is the one doing the holding this year.
Kyron Tyson to attempt.
It'll be number 54 for Alcoa. That is Sam Garland on the snapping duties. Gets it. Manu gets it off the turf, brings it up. The kick is up. The kick is good. And so with that, an 8:59 left to go in the first quarter, Alcoa 7, Gibbs 0. We're going to take a quick break here on the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week on 94.3 Jack FM. Welcome back into the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. Heath Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel. The Tornadoes just booted that into the end zone. It's a touchback for the Eagles, and Gibbs will come out on their second offensive drive and look to see if they can have a little bit more success. Some penalties, some bad mistakes, and a 3-and-out for the Gibbs Eagles on their first offensive drive. Now looking to see if they can change things here. 8:59 left to go in the first quarter. 7-0 Alcoa.
Yeah, Heath, is Gibbs on their first drive had a total of -6 yards and no first downs on the first time. Let's see if they can do something a little bit more with the ball.
First and 10 for Gibbs. They'll pitch it to the outside, and there's a positive run for the Eagles. That's DeJuan Harris on the carry as he cuts it to the outside, turns it upfield, and he will be down at the 27-yard line. So it'll be 2nd and 3 for Gibbs.
Yeah, and tackle made by Sutterth on that play for Alcoa, keeping him from getting any further down the field.
Alcoa noticing some things offensively, looking over at Coach Nixon, getting the adjustment. Gibbs will turn. They'll hand the football off to Harris again. Harris bounced out to the outside near the Gibbs sidelines, and Harris is going to pick up a first down for the Eagles, their first down of the game. Another Hardy scoreboard update that Trevor found for us. Heritage leading South Doyle 7-0 early in that one. Gibbs will hand it off to their fullback up the middle.
Yeah, Heath, one of the things we had talked about before the game as well about Gibbs using a lot of misdirection type plays. This one straight up the middle, and Alcoa had been looking a little bit more, it looks like, for an end play.
Yeah, one of the things Coulter brought to my attention before we came on in the pregame show was the trickeration and some of the plays that you like to see the Eagles draw up to try to throw off other teams. You saw them do it there a moment ago. This time they handed off up the middle to OMB, and not much doing, a yard if that, but good defense by Alcoa. It is now 3rd and 2 for the Gibbs Eagles. 7:52 and counting off the clock in the first quarter. 7-0 Alcoa, ball on the 40-yard line. 60 yards away from pay dirt for Gibbs. Trying to move this football down the field. Under center is Keith Jones Jr. He'll turn handoff again to the fullback, and right there the Tornadoes stonewalling him and driving him backwards for a loss of 1.
Yeah, Gibbs went to the well a little too much in this series on that play, as that was about the 3rd one, just going off center more or less.
Zachary Wilson, the junior on the carry.
It looks like Gibbs is going to go for it on 4th down, Heath.
Well, Scott, if I was Alcoa here, I would just watch for them to try to get you to jump. I think this is more of a situation of trying to get Alcoa to jump off sides. No, they're actually going to go for it. And Darius Sutherland brings the pressure. They'll throw up a bomb, and it's caught. There was a penalty flag, but Scott, more than likely, I wonder if that's going to be a pass interference on the defense, and so it won't matter.
Yeah, Heath, I'm thinking that same. Also, as Abahanya looked like he may have pushed off, but also felt like he was trying to get around the receiver who had stopped and was coming back to the ball. So they're going to decline that penalty. It was a pass interference call. But Sutterth had put some serious pressure on Jones right before he threw that up.
7 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10 for the Eagles. And now on the right side of the 50, a trick play as Harris thought about throwing it. Now he decides to run with it. And Alcoa slams him to the turf. The ref will say he's down at the 39-yard line is where they'll mark him at. And it'll be 2nd down.
Well, they're going to back it up to the 41.
Interesting.
It's 2nd and 8.
It does feel like a little more trickeration, though, Scott, during this drive, really trying to keep the Tornadoes off balance with all that movement. 2nd and 8. Jones Jr. hands it up the middle. Nothing. Oh, wow. Somehow pulled it out and then flipped it outside to Harris, but still great job by the defense. Carter Cowart read the initial fullback and just met him at the line of scrimmage, but then they flipped it out to Harris. He thought he was going to have some space, but good team speed by the defense, pursuing the football and not allowing him to get much of anything.
Yeah, Harris made a good move on the defender. Thought he might be able to get around him, but that gap closed up really fast.
It did. It's now 3rd and 8 for the Tornadoes. Ball on the 41-yard line, and it's 5:50 and counting left to go in the first quarter. 7-0 Tornadoes. Jones Jr. drops back, looks to his right, looks to fire it down the field, sees a space. Through the defender's hands, almost into the receivers who lost it as well. And that'll end up being incomplete, but almost intercepted, Scott, by the sophomore linebacker, Man Henry, who was in the area, just unable to pull it down.
Yeah, right through his hands, but also past the receiver and almost into the hands of the defender behind him as well.
It almost felt like, too, he almost gifted the receiver a catch as it slipped through his hands.
Yes.
I thought the receiver was going to end up coming down with it. But now it's 4th and 8, and the Eagles, again, will be looking to go for it here. Went for it a minute ago and made it work and helped them continue this drive and trying to stay alive again here. Jones will roll out to the right side. Carter Cowart bringing some pressure. Now here comes Sutter. He'll throw it across the middle. It's caught and able to hold on to it and skirt himself past the 30 and pick up another 1st down is number 3 of the Gibbs Eagles. That was Wyatt Shropshire, the senior wide receiver and defensive back. And it's got twice now. The Tornadoes unable to close out the Gibbs Eagles possession, and they've had some clutch 4th down conversions.
That they have.
They'll send a man in motion, hand it off to him on a jet sweep, but Darius Sutter ain't having any of that as he'll slam him down for a loss of 2 as it was Camden Beeler on the jet sweep.
Yeah, Beeler, a senior, about 5'9", 165 for the Eagles. Looks like they're going to drop back a little bit and run over and talk to the coach for a second.
Yeah, I got some time here, about 27 seconds to go on the play clock as that one continues to tick. 4:49 to go on the scoreboard. It's 2nd and 12, ball on the 31. 7-0 Tornadoes. Gibbs quickly hustle to the line of scrimmage now. Send a man in motion. Fake it, now look over to the sidelines. Almost like they were trying to get Alcoa to see if they could maybe get a free 5. They don't. Look back, send the man back in motion again. Turn, fake the jet sweep, hand the football off to the running back, and there's a penalty flag down. While the referees are talking things over, we've got Paige Dower on the sidelines for us each and every week. So glad to have her back this week for us for Gibbs High School. And Paige, this has been a game that many people have been excited about, especially in the Gibbs community. Having Alcoa now in your region, having Alcoa come to Gibbs in a big-time game in Region 2, Class 4A. What's the vibe like down there, and have you been hearing anything about this big-time matchup?
For Gibbs and for Alcoa, of course, Gibbs, kind of hoping to give Alcoa a welcome to 4A, obviously now being region opponents. It was funny, as I was coming in here closer to 7 p.m., I was looking at my GPS and I saw all these cars about a half a mile outside of the stadium. Cars were already lined up and parked and people were just hiking their way in. So definitely a lot of energy coming into this game. As I look to the sideline after Gibbs called their timeout, it's Brian Nix really talking to his players, trying to incite some, fundamentals out of them, giving up those clutch, 4th down plays, which Alcoa just cannot afford to do, as Gibbs has really mounted a really long and successful drive right now.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of things to work on for Alcoa here. As you know, Coach Nix is frustrated about those fourth down conversions that they've given up. And one thing Coach Nix does very well is defensive adjustments. And you see it right there as the Tornadoes get in the backfield and make another big-time play. It looked like Scott Damari DeBose on the tackle for a loss. And now third and very long for the Eagles. But, you know, Scott, I wasn't sure if it was because Alcoa was coming to town or you were coming back that had everyone buzzing around here.
Could be a little of both.
Could be a little bit of both. But, man, yeah, Paige is right. It is jam-packed around here. We luckily were able to find a spot. We got here early enough, but, man, the later you waited, the harder it was, as they were, as she said, just down by the school, down by the field, closer to it, and there's an interception, and it's Micah Jones. Michael Jones turning on the Jets. There goes Micah, spins off another defender, and oh, he just got the jersey. If he'd been able to get a step around him, Damari DeBose was getting ready to lead the way, but how about that? The junior on the interception. The Tornadoes have the ball, and Scott, a promising drive for the Gibbs Eagles is now over.
And something, too, you're looking at, was Gibbs going to be able to put some points on the board for the first time ever against Alcoa? That stopped, but thanks to the strong arm and reach of Keenan Norman for the Eagles, he was able to reach out and pull him down to keep him from taking it all the way in.
7-0 Tornadoes, 3:45 left to go in the first quarter. Tornadoes now have the football, ball at the 38. Mono will turn, hand it off to DeBose. Damari DeBose turning on the Jets, bursts to the outside, cuts it back up, and will be down, but it'll be 2nd and 4 for Alcoa.
A good move. Alcoa just going to try to drop the ball, and I'm sure Manu's not going to, I'm sure he's going to have at least one pass anyway.
Empty backfield for Thomas Manu, and now he'll look to pass it here. He'll throw it across the middle. That's complete to Jameer Dean. Jameer Dean looking for space. He gets past one. They trip him up, and he falls near the 5. And Tornadoes now in the Clean Roofs Tornado red zone.
Yeah, it looked like Reed Daniels was able to get a hand on him just to trip him up a little bit and help bring him down. Otherwise, he was going to be in the end zone.
Tornadoes quickly back to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 6, 3:05 to go in the first. Damari DeBose in the backfield. Damari DeBose will get the handoff. Damari DeBose saw a linebacker coming up, and Scott just kind of almost braced for impact as the linebacker had some size on him and saw he wasn't going to have time to burst it outside around him, so just kind of braced, lowered his helmet. And the guy come and took his feet out from under him. So it'll be 2nd down at the, I believe, the 5 or close to the 5-yard line.
They're going to call personal foul on both defense and offense. Alcoa and Gibbs getting a little chippy down there, receiving and a defensive back, but both offsets. So going to make it 2nd down and goal for the Tornadoes.
Well, 2nd and goal for Alcoa, and Scott, that was something we saw way too much last week, but it wasn't necessarily surprising between Alcoa and Bearden. We saw some chippiness in that ball game. You saw Coach Nix really frustrated with what he saw from some of his players early in that game, and made them sit on the sidelines for a little while to think about it. Trips to the right, single receiver to the left. They'll go to the single receiver side, and it'll work out for him as Jameer Dean in the corner of the end zone catches it for a Tornado touchdown.
Yeah, Ethan, another pass by Manu that just dropped it right into the receiver's lap.
Yeah, Manu's done a really good job with those touch passes and just put it perfectly for Jameer Dean to catch it in the breadbasket, and a Delosier Auction Tornado touchdown for Alcoa, their 2nd touchdown of the day. As moments ago, the Gibbs Eagles were trying their best to tie up this ball game, but an interception allowed the Tornadoes to bring it down the field and put it into the end zone. Kyron Tyson getting ready. There's the snap. The kick is up. The kick is good with 2.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Alcoa 14, Gibbs 0. You're listening to the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week on 94.3 Jack FM. We'll be back in a moment.
Kick goes into the end zone. It's first and 10 Eagles at the 20. And Gibbs High School would like to thank Connor Woodman and Charlie Pratt, the official financial planning institution of Gibbs Athletics.
Welcome back in to the Davids Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. 2.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 14-0 Tornadoes as Alcoa just kicked another touchback, and here come the Eagles. First Eagles drive, 3 and out. Second Eagles drive got down the field near around the, I believe, the 35-yard line, and then an interception that gave the Tornadoes the football back and allowed them to score their second touchdown of the game. The Eagles will now look to see if they can finally get some points on the board and finish a drive as they'll hand it off on a reverse to DeJuan Harris.
Yeah, Harris trying to get around the end, gets about 3 on that, but Alcoa gets to him quickly.
So after that handoff, it is going to be 2nd and 6 for the Eagles. Jones sends a man in motion, turns, hands it off up the middle, and again, that play has, for the most part, been negated by the Eagles because the Tornadoes have been right there waiting for him. Kenny Harris on the tackle, and it is 3rd and 7.
And I'm sure Coach Nix and the defensive coordinators have all talked about watch your lanes, keep your lanes, because when Gibbs is doing those tricks, if you go with it, they're going to get big yardage on it.
Now, Scott, have you been reading Coulter's scouting report coming into this game? Because that's one of the things he was telling me about is that discipline of just staying in your lanes, not getting outside of it just because of a trick play. As Jones felt the pressure, tried to quickly throw it outside to Harris. That one low and incomplete, and it's now 4th down. And, Scott, where the football is at now in regards to field position, you have to imagine the Eagles this time will punt.
They are. I see the punting unit coming out onto the field. So Gibbs going to punt with about 1:16 left in the first quarter. As we've mentioned earlier, we'll mention it again. The Alcoa Tornadoes leading the Gibbs Eagles 14-0.
Jameer Dean was the one returning it last time. This time it's Jacoby Cooper. Alcoa brings a little bit more pressure, trying to see if they can get a block. They'll kick it out of bounds on the Gibbs sideline over near the cheerleaders, and let's see where that spot was. The last punt only went for about 18 yards.
I was trying to find that referee. He came from a long way back. He's still moving forward and gave him a good mark. I think it was a little quicker getting out of bounds than that. But Alcoa put a heavy rush on him, and he had to rush that ball, and again, just barely got that ball away. It looks like officially about a 16-yard punt.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit of a worse punt. What, 2 yards less? Wasn't the last one 18 yards?
It was 18.
Yikes. Tornadoes with the ball at the 40. Empty backfield for Manu. Trips to the right, 2 receivers to the left.
See if Alcoa will strike quickly here.
Manu will drop back, look to the 2 receiver side, roll out that way in the short side of the field. Now look to run it himself and step out of bounds.
The smart play. Had no receivers open at the time. Started to see a little bit of a rush. Decided to go ahead and just get out of bounds quickly.
Well, Scott, kind of the same thing, though, we were talking about from Keith Jones Jr. earlier, though. By holding on to it and running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, you lose yardage. It's 2nd and 11. Mono will turn, hand it off to Condis Cherry. Condis Cherry will bounce it out to the right side, turn on the Jets, wait for a block. Now continue on down the sidelines and escort it out near the 10. But a big gain for Condis Cherry, around 30-yard carry, I believe 31 maybe where they officially spot it, because I think they're going to put it at the 10. So a 31-yard carry for Condis Cherry, and the Tornadoes yet again knocking on the door.
And that's a Maryville Top Shot Tornado first down as well, Heath, as they are now in the Clean Roofs Tornado red zone.
Manu looks over and throws it to Jacoby Cooper. A screen is set. Jacoby Cooper makes a move, dives, and is in the end zone.
And that is the 5th touchdown this year for Cooper.
A Delosier auction Tornado touchdown, and Alcoa on the board yet again. Scott, we've talked about the impressive play of Thomas Manu so far this season. You look at his stats tonight, and I don't think it's updated just yet, but he has remained perfect again.
That he has. He's 5 of 5, 64 yards so far, 2 touchdowns. Alcoa just being very impressive right now.
And I think that's before the latest stats. I think Coulter's getting that updated for us, but I think he just threw his 3rd touchdown of the night.
Kick is good.
We've got one rushing
you're right,
from
Connor's
Cherry.
So they did update that. So he's had 2 touchdowns so far. He threw 6 last week. 6 touchdowns last week in the first half. I mean, what a game from him. A question was raised, and we might have to ask Coach Gossett to pull up the record books and look, but 6 touchdowns in the first half, passing touchdown by quarterback. I wonder where that would stand in the Alcoa record books.
I agree, Heath. That would be something to look up because he's got to be on the top, if not very close to it.
43 seconds left to go in the first quarter, 21-0. Alcoa got an update a moment ago, a Hardy scoreboard update that the Rebels now leading the Bulldogs 35-0.
Yeah, we talked about that before, is just Bearden, after getting beat like they did against Alcoa, then having to go face Maryville. 2 really rough weeks back-to-back for the Bulldogs.
And you hope, Scott, for their sake, able to really just try to find some positive they can take away and grow as the season progresses. A young team who's got a new coach, but an old coach who came back to coach his Bulldogs yet again when they needed him. Really good player developer, and hoping he can try to right the ship for Bearden and get them back on track. But a kick that's booted up and away by Kyron Tyson ends up in the blue turf for a touchback, and the Eagles will come back out on offense.
Yeah, I think Tyson just seeing how far each kick can go further and further into the back of the end zone.
And as Gibbs gets ready, Scott, I mean, the first drive of the night, their 3rd drive of the night, really not much doing. It was that second one where they really started to use, I thought, try to use DeJuan Harris a little bit more and get him involved, their big-time playmaker, keep Alcoa on their toes with some misdirection was really where they had a lot of success. It almost felt like they dialed it back a little bit on that last drive and it allowed Alcoa to end that offensive drive pretty quickly. So the Gibbs back to it. They'll draw back. They'll look to the trip side. Jones will roll that way, feel the pressure. This time he will throw it out of bounds near his coaches for an incompletion. And it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Heath, like we talked about, I'm sure Coach Turner kind of pulled him off to the side, reminded him don't lose those yardage like that. Alcoa, seeing him sprint come out of the pocket, started to put some heavy rush on him.
2nd and 10 for Gibbs. 37 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Getting them set in the middle of the field is the referee as they'll get lined up and get ready to go. Alcoa in the 3-4 defense brings Man Henry up to the line as he'll help bring some pressure. They'll turn, throw it on a jet, or run it on a jet sweep to the outside, and Alcoa blasts him near the sidelines. And that was Shropshire on the carry. He'll make it much more favorable field position for the Eagles here, as it's now going to be 3rd and 3 versus a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, and Gibbs also, sorry to say Eagleton, Gibbs went back into more of a shotgun than they were on the last drive where they were behind under center.
Win the pistol now. They'll turn, fake the handoff, and then get sacked in the backfield as Man Henry meets him 5 yards back for a loss. First sack of the game for the Tornadoes, and now the Eagles again will be forced to punt the football away. This time, Jameer Dean back again for punt return duties. And Scott, the clock will roll, and I'd have to imagine Gibbs is going to just take their time here and let this one roll out and finish the first quarter and try to lick their talons and regroup.
Yeah, I saw Coach Turner pulling his team back, so you knew that was what was going to happen.
So the end of the first quarter, Tornadoes 21, Eagles 0. You're listening to the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. We'll be back in a moment to bring you second quarter action. to the broadcast between Alcoa and Gibbs on the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. Keith Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel here at Gibbs High School, 21-0. Tornadoes in the lead and dominating the football game so far. The Eagles looked for a moment like they might have some life on their second offensive drive, but moved it down the field and then got it intercepted by Micah Jones, who ran it back about 40-plus yards, and then the Tornado offense did the rest. Quarterback Thomas Manu, 5 of 5 in the game so far for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. Running the football for Alcoa, Condis Cherry leading the way for 2 rushes for 41 and a touchdown. And then receiving, Jameer Dean, 3 receptions for 44 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Cooper, 2 receptions for 20 yards and a touchdown. The Tornadoes, 117 total yards of offense, 64 through the air, and 53 on the ground. Scott, one of the things I was noticing about this Gibbs football team is they really do like to run the football. They really kind of lean on that a decent amount when you look at their overall stats. You look at Alcoa's overall stats, and so far this season, they've made things pretty difficult on the ground for running football teams. This football team only allowing 17 points per game. And last week against Bearden, they gave up 248 yards, 256 through the air, -8 on the ground.
That they did, Heath, and those stats that you gave were brought to you by the Black Horse Pub for the end of quarter stats. Really excited to see what Alcoa has done so far as they continue to drive, or actually Gibbs is fixing the punt. Then we'll drive the ball down the field.
That is correct. Dan has a high snap, but he's able to bring it down. He'll punt it away to Dean. Dean will catch it. Dean will look to return it. Dean's got some blockers on the left side by the Alcoa sidelines. Now looks to cut it back up the field, down the hash, and will be taken down at the 37-yard line. So as the Tornado offense will get ready to make their way onto the football field, it's time for your Hardy scoreboard update. In the second quarter, Heritage leading South Doyle 14-7 in a Region 2 matchup in 4A. 2 teams we'll see later this season. Maryville leading Bearden, I said defeating Bearden. They will defeat them probably by the end of this game as they lead 42-0 at halftime. Anderson County all over Fulton in a region game, 16-0 in the first quarter. Carter leading Union County 35-0 in the second. And William Clinton in a nice battle in the second quarter, 21-14 Governors. Snap, handoff, Damari DeBose on the carry. Picking up speed and an 8-yard gain from Damari DeBose, and it is now 2nd and 2 for the Tornadoes.
And he's on that punt from Gibbs earlier, a good punt, getting it out there. Unfortunately for the Eagles, the ball ends up being a net of 15 yards as Alcoa brings it almost all the way back.
So Manu will get the snap, he'll turn and hand it off, and there goes Damari DeBose again. Damari DeBose slips past one tackler, looks to slip past another, and almost escaped a shoestring tackle, and he'll be down at the 13-yard line.
Yeah, if he had been able to get past that, I don't think the next defender would have been able to stop him.
What they are in, though, is the Clean Roofs Tornado Red Zone, as the Tornadoes will look to add their fourth touchdown of the game. 1 on the ground so far, 2 through the air. Let's see what they go to here. Do they keep feeding DeBose, and can he pick up his first touchdown of the night? There's the handoff. No, the fake. Manu will look to keep it. Manu will look to take it himself. There he goes, and walking in to pay dirt for a touchdown.
Yeah, and just right before that was a Maryville top shot first down for the Tornadoes, but DeBose doing most of the work, and then Manu getting that last 12 yards to get that in for the Tornadoes.
Faked the handoff, felt some pressure as he was looking to throw. Again, he's remained perfect so far tonight, 5 of 5 passing, but that pressure was a little too much around him. Felt it, found an open hole, and took off. And that was one of the things, Scott, 2 weeks ago in his first ball game against the Maryville Rebels. We saw him a little bit hesitant in that first drive, really trusting his gut and just taking off and using those wheels. He's gotten a lot more comfortable as that game progressed. We saw it last week, and then you see it right there lead to a touchdown. So Thomas Manu credited with 3 of the 4 touchdowns the Tornadoes have scored tonight. The extra point is up and good. And with 10:44 to go in the second quarter, it's Tornadoes 28, Eagles 0. So all Alcoa so far, 154 total yards of offense here in the first half. 64 through the air, 90 on the ground. Talking about how this Tornado defense, Scott, has been really tough to play against. They've allowed 30 yards through the air and only 17 on the ground to a Gibbs Eagles team that really likes to run the football when they can.
Well, and you look at it, Heath, as well. Gibbs has rushed the ball 16 times, but only gotten 17 yards out of it. Not something that you're going to be successful with if you continue to do that.
You look at the Gibbs drives so far as they're getting ready to receive the football again. Punt, interception, punt, punt. So really trying to see if they can change their ways, as so far nothing has worked for the Eagles, as they have not been able to get it in the end zone yet. Kyron Tyson will boot it down the field. This one looks like it'll be returnable as Harris will get it at the 3. Here comes Harris to the 15, to the 20. He'll meet some Tornadoes and be taken down just past the 20-yard line. And the Eagles will come out again. And Scott, if you're the Gibbs Eagles right now, second quarter, you're already down 4 scores. What do you do?
Right now, you just got to chip away, Heath. You can't keep giving Alcoa opportunity after opportunity. I think earlier we were looking at Alcoa's starting yardage was usually right around the Eagles' 39, 38-yard line, and Alcoa short field each time. Gibbs has got to get the ball down and then make Alcoa have to take the whole field. The first thing you got to do is try to get some confidence, get some points on the board first.
Well, right now, back on the field are the Eagles. They'll hand the football off, and Owenby will go nowhere, and he'll actually lose a few as Kenny Harris breaks through the line of scrimmage, grabs him around the hips, and throws him to the turf. It'll be a loss of 2. It's now 2nd and 12.
Yeah, Gibbs is not, I want to say they've really honestly not had any success either passing or rushing, but you got to find something that works.
You got to find a way to get this man involved.
That didn't.
The only thing that didn't work out there is the Tornadoes were looking for it as they try to hand it off, coming across the play to Harris, and Darius Sutter and the rest of Tornado defense force him to kind of bow it back and try to see if he can use his speed to get around him. But one of the things Scotty didn't realize, that Tornado defense has got some speed too.
That they do.
It's now 3rd and 21 for the Eagles. They'll turn and hand it off up the middle. He'll get past the original line of scrimmage, get a few more, as that was number 24, Owenby, on the carry.
Yeah, not real sure if that was actually a design play or not, Heath. As I was watching the receiver look to the sideline, giving some signals, and the whole time the offense has already started moving.
Maybe trying to just kind of catch Alcoa napping a little bit and then hand it off up the middle, but the Tornadoes able to get to the football quickly after a gain of 7. It's 4th and 14, ball on the 18, and it's punting time for the Eagles. And a high punt. That one a much better punt, the best one of the night for Gibbs, as number 14, Mikael Van Pelt, the senior kicker, boots that one away and has to feel much better about that one after the first one only went for 18 yards, the second one for 16.
Right, and then the third one, he basically got a net of 15 yards as Alcoa returned it. This time Alcoa calls for a fair catch at their own 39. This is the first time Alcoa has had the ball on their side of the field.
Yeah, flipping the field for the Tornadoes and at least giving his defense a little bit more room to operate and trying to see if they can prevent Alcoa from entering pay dirt. 9:06 left to go in the second quarter, 28-0. Alcoa. Manu will wait for the snap. He'll get it. He'll turn. He'll hand it off up the middle. That is Condis Cherry. Cherry to the outside and spun around, stayed on his feet, but then tiptoed out of bounds over by the Alcoa sidelines. And we'll see if they give it to him. I couldn't tell if they said he stepped out early. He did. So only a 9-yard gain, not a first down. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Yeah, again, Cherry's so hard to bring down because he's so slippery, and he's also able to juke and jive, and really makes it difficult for you just to try to make a hand tackle.
He'll fake the handoff this time. Manu will roll out. He'll look. He'll throw it down the field. He's got a man. And, oh, just through the hands of Jamirius Abuhanya. Kind of had to make him turn his body just a little bit as he put that one over near the sidelines and right through the hands. Scott kind of reminded me, and I don't know if you caught it, but a little bit of that Dallas Cowboys game last night as CeeDee Lamb twice on that final drive for the Cowboys had one slip through his hands and just quite missed it. And the Eagles were able to come away with a big-time victory. So 3rd and 1 for the Tornadoes. Looks to more likely go to the ground here to try to pick up that first down. They will, and it's big-time Micah Jones up the middle, and Jones will pick it up. It's a Marable top shot. Tornado first down.
Yeah, right now Gibbs has not been able to stop Alcoa on the run, so Alcoa just pretty much doing what they want.
Ball on the 47-yard line for Alcoa. Jones will stay in the ball game with Manu. 2 receivers out to the right, single receiver to the left with Jalen Pinson split off to the left side. And the Tornadoes get the Gibbs Eagles to jump. Got a little too antsy to jump out of that nest and gave Alcoa a free 5.
Yeah, Alcoa did that for them earlier, and then Alcoa's always been really good and well-versed at getting the defense to draw offsides.
Well, and nothing like Scott on 1st and 10 getting a little free 5 there. Get a team that maybe isn't expecting you to try to draw them off sides on 1st down and then putting yourself in a more favorable field position. So 1st and 5 for Alcoa, 8:20 to go in the second quarter. Clock continues to tick and not be the Eagles' friend as right now Alcoa up 4 scores. Alcoa looks to now be in a formation with Jalen Pinson split off to the left. Receivers bunched up behind each other on the right side. They'll pitch it to the left. There goes Micah Jones. Micah Jones makes one miss. He tries to truck another and get him out of his way, but Scott holding on for dear life, holding on to his foot, and allows another Eagle to come over and help and finish him off, but not before a Marable top shot. Tornado first down, and Alcoa will have the ball at the 27.
Yeah, it looked like Mason Whaley on the tackle for the Eagles. Was able to just grab the foot and hang on.
Now under 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Jones will stay in the ball game. He'll be to the left of Manu. Now he'll stay in pass protection. Manu will throw it down the field wide open, and just missed him. A little bit too strong of a throw, about 3 to 4 yards ahead of Jalen Pinson, Scott. But if he would have been able to put a little bit more touch out of on that, Pinson would have been walking in the end zone untouched.
Yeah, probably just a little bit more air to let it come down right into his lap.
You know Jalen Pinson has to be a little bummed out about that one. I believe he had 2 catches last week. They both went for touchdowns.
Yeah, would have liked to make that third one a nice gift as well.
2nd and 10. Manu will roll out to the right this time. He'll look down the field. Now he'll look to take off with it. There he goes. And the Eagles will catch up to him, but he'll put himself in a better position on 3rd down. It'll be 3rd and about 5.
Yeah, one of the benefits of a run like that, when you have a team coming up behind you to tackle you, they end up pushing you forward, as one of the leading tacklers for Gibbs, Seth Sieber, in on the tackle for the Eagles.
3rd and 5 for Alcoa. Jones in the backfield with Manu. Trips bunched formation to the left side. I'd almost look for potentially a quarterback sweep. No, he's going to throw it to the single side. And Scott, another strong throw too far to the outside to Dean. We've seen a couple on this drive that really have kind of been a little bit uncharacteristic of Manu so far this season, where he's just put a little too much mustard on him. And because of it, Alcoa is now going to look to kick the field goal as Kyron Tyson will come out.
Yeah, Tyson, an excellent field goal kicker, and going to look at see if he can get a few more points on the board for the Tornadoes.
Thomas Manu to hold. Kyron Tyson gets ready, lets him know he's ready to roll. The snap from Garland is up. The kick is doing, and it is good. 3 points towards the Tornadoes. It's now 31-0. Alcoa. 6:48 left to go in the second quarter. You're listening to the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Able to reach over the top of Damari DeBose using his height and just pick it away from him. But Damari got a hand in there in between them and was able to deflect the ball away.
That he did, Heath, but the ball came back almost to the receiver. Receiver not able to corral it as it falls to the ground, but great defense from DeBose.
So it is now 2nd and 10 for the Eagles. They'll send a man in motion. That's Shropshire. They'll hand it off to him on the jet sweep.
Good hit.
Damari DeBose lowers the shoulder and bumps him back into the teeth of the defense. And it looks like it was Carter Coward and Darius Sutter who were able to finish him off for the tackle. Only thing I would say there, Scott, is that's some bigger time games. You've got to be a little bit more careful about that, as DeBose, instead of wrapping up, just tried to kind of hit him and lower his shoulder. We saw that happen to Cherry in week 1 against Maryville, and Babylay was able to just roll right off of it and then walk into pay dirt. So lower the shoulder, but get those hands out there and wrap up.
Yeah, it was almost like he was just trying to pinball him into the interior line.
It is 3rd and 8. Jones will look and turn to the outside to his running back, Shropshire. He's got him. Shropshire trying to turn on the Jets. He'll cut it up the field for a few, but the Tornadoes will force a 4th down. It's going to be 4th and about 3.
Yeah, again, Gibbs deep in their territory, but it looks like they're going to continue to run the offense, or hurry up offense as well as they get lined up quickly, hoping probably to draw Alcoa off sides.
Fourth and 3. Gibbs looking over to the sidelines to get the play call. 15 seconds of the play clock. Clock continuing to tick. Not an area of the field, Scott, I would actually go for it. I think Gibbs just trying to take their time, seeing if they can get Alcoa to make a mistake. They ultimately do not. They'll take a Bill Cox Furniture timeout to talk things over.
Yeah, and probably a wise decision. They had about 5 seconds left, and everyone was still just standing up looking at the sideline.
And so right now with 5:08 left to go in 31-0 Alcoa, we've got Paige Dower down there keeping an eye out for how things are going for us on the Alcoa sidelines. Paige, I know you said early on Coach Nick's really kind of frustrated with the performance of his defense, but it seems like they've really been able to right the ship since then. How's the sidelines looking now?
Honestly, a lot calmer, guys. And, you know, one of the guys that he was talking to is Janeris Henry, who had the interception earlier in the game, or the only interception in this game so far. Brian Nix actually, you know, kind of talked to him one-on-one in the drive where Gibbs was converting a couple of those 4th down tries. And I just, you know, kind of maybe helping him reset. And then the very next play he goes in there, you know, helps to make a really important play. And then the defense has looked really good up until then. So a lot calmer on the sideline now that we're here in the 2nd quarter and Alcoa leads 31-0.
Good to hear, and certainly likes what he sees on the scoreboard, I'm sure. 31-0 Tornadoes, 5:08 left to go in the 2nd quarter, and Mikhail Van Pelt, who punted it away last time and probably had his best punt of the game, will look to do so again. Another booming punt, and backing up and letting it go, and Eagles will catch it at the 33, and that is where the Tornadoes will come back on offense. And Scott, last time was really the first time, like we said, that punt kind of flipped the field for the Tornadoes, but it really didn't seem to slow them down much.
No, not. Alcoa pretty much been able to do most of what they wanted to do. Mono just a little off on his passes that last series, but the punt right there, a good punt, but then takes a Alcoa bounce as it comes back about 3 to 4 yards before Gibbs was able to grab hold of it, keep it from getting any further upfield.
Talk about Manu. He was 5 of 5 to start the game. That last drive, 0 of 3. Last week he only had 1 incompletion, so he's really started off the season pretty strong. Certainly, I think would like to have those last 3 throws back. They felt like he just put a little too much on him, like got a little too excited, tried a little too quickly instead of getting his feet set and making a clean throw. But, you know, I'm sure they'll give him some more opportunities here before he's out of this ball game. As right now he'll look, he'll turn, he'll throw it, he'll complete it on a screen, and then turning on the Jets is, I believe, Damari DeBose, and Damari DeBose taken out of bounds past the 50 at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be able to get past that, but a defender was able to just get the right angle on him and get him to step out of bounds. Otherwise, he had nothing but green in front of him.
47-yard line. Tornadoes getting lined up and getting right back to it. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Tight end on the right side, split off behind the right tackle. A handoff to DeBose. DeBose turning on the Jets again. There he goes, Damari DeBose, into the 20, to the 15, and stepping out of bounds. They'll say he stepped out just 2 yards short of the 15-yard line at the 17.
But a Maryville Top Shot Tornado first down on that as well, Heath. Now Alcoa getting inside the, looks like Clean Roofs Tornado red zone.
It'll put it at the 17 for Alcoa. 4:38 left to go in the second quarter. Mono surveys the field, has got DeBose in the backfield with him. He'll look to throw, however. He'll complete it to Pinson. Pinson sheds 1 tackle, lunges forward, and as the tackler was falling, he did catch his foot and prevent him from what more than likely would have ended up in the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, he's got number 12, and I keep wanting to say Graf whenever I see him running with the ball.
Coming up a little bit gimpy after he fell on his cleat and tried to pull him down. Hopefully his ankle's okay. It's 1st and 4. And the Tornadoes get the Eagles to jump. So Alcoa now inch their way a little bit closer to the end zone.
Yeah, if you remember, Heath, Bearden jumped 5 times last game.
I think that's at least 2 on Bearden tonight. 2 penalties so far for jumping off sides.
For Gibbs, yes.
Yeah. 1st and 2 now for the Tornadoes at the goal line. So they'll turn, hand it off to Damari DeBose, and in the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Tornadoes.
And I believe that's Damari's first touchdown of the game as well.
First touchdown for DeBose, and Alcoa continues to extend their lead.
So you have right now about 3 players for Alcoa with rushing touchdowns. So as he shows, just kind of spreading the wealth a little bit, letting everybody get an opportunity.
Yeah, I may need to go back and look at the stats. May be something I put our statistician to work on a little bit later, but that potentially might be DeBose's first touchdown of the season. As that extra point is up, that extra point is good, and your score with 4:04 left to go in the second quarter, it's Alcoa 38. Gibbs 0. We'll take a quick break here on the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week on 94.3 Jack FM. He scored week 1 or 2?
Do what?
I know he ran the ball, but I don't know if he scored. At the 32-yard line.
Yeah, good run from Harris getting it that far out. As when he caught the ball, he took a step back into the end zone. The referee said his front foot was still in play, so they let him allow to get some yards and the best yardage on a kickoff return for the Eagles so far tonight.
And Scott, I did have our statistician look into it and did get confirmation that was DeBose's first touchdown of the season.
Well, it won't be his only one, I can tell you that.
Well, I'll agree with you there. 38-0 Alcoa with 3:56 left to go in the second quarter. Jones gets the snap, hands off to Harris. Harris will try to turn it upfield. There's Blair Goodson and the rest of the Tornado defense waiting for him. And they'll just all sandwich and give him a hug and escort him to the turf.
Yeah, you kind of saw that one coming as Jones pretty much telegraphed the handoff, and the defense was right on top of it.
So 2nd and 11 for Gibbs, and we're now under 3.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Gibbs will get their player set as a running back behind the quarterback under center. They'll send a man in motion now. Have what looked to be almost an I formation, send him right back. They have a guy split off to the left and to the right of the formation. They'll send one in motion, turn, hand it off up the middle. Pushing ahead, I believe, was Tucker Owenby on the carry. Owenby for a gain of 4. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Yeah, again, as we talk about, if you're watching a lot of misdirection from the Eagles, you just really have to pay attention to what's going on.
They'll send a man this time in motion from the right side. It's kind of interesting. You saw him do it last time. They do it again here. Sending a man in motion and then stopping midway and then kind of running right back to where he began. Almost like they're trying to see what the defense is going to do before they determine how they're going to actually run the play. This time they'll turn, hand it off to Shropshire. And oh my goodness. Cade Stinnen just kind of planted him, Scott, just met him like a brick wall in the backfield and just stopped dead in his tracks. And then Stinnen taking him down to the turf. And all the yards they got a moment ago, they just lost again thanks to the senior linebacker. It is 4th and 11, and now they'll punt it away.
Yeah, he's just basically trying to bear down on Harris and watch, because the trickeration is not working as well, and you're just watching him hand it off, and as soon as he does, just wrap that player up.
Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. The Tornadoes will have another opportunity to add some more points on the board. It's Jameer Dean back to receive. Van Pelt will kick it up high and away. This one more than likely not ability to return, as he will fair catch it at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, much better punch the last couple of punts here from Van Pelt as he is able to get in there. I really think a little bit of nerves in that heavy Alcoa rush in the first quarter kind of threw him off balance.
Well, you almost wonder if originally he was trying to just keep it away from the playmakers, but then angled it a little too much and therefore didn't get it far enough down the field. Now just booting it away and trusting his punt team.
Well, the way Alcoa is built, all their players are playmakers.
We'll turn, look at the running back out to the right. Instead, go to the left-hand side, trying to set up a screen. Shedding 2 tacklers for a hard-fought 2 to 3 yards was Jameer Dean.
Yeah, if he could have got past that, he had 2 big linemen out there in front of him just to clear the way.
It's 2nd and 7 for Alcoa. Manu coming up to the line of scrimmage and calling things out to his team. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Tight end, split off to the right side. Manu will drop back, look to the single receiver side. Now roll out to the trip side. Throw it down the field. He's got a man, but it's a little bit underthrown.
Oh,
and
that
coming back up is Jamiri Abuhanya, and it'll be pass interference. And Abuhanya got frustrated, not because of the call, because it will be on Gibbs, but because he had at least 5 or 6 steps on the defensive back. If Manu just could have let him, he would have been in the end zone. You almost wonder if after some of the overthrows you saw earlier, he's now trying to kind of overcompensate the wrong direction.
Yeah, it looked like a little too much more up and down than just up and out, as Reed Daniel just had nothing he could do but just reach out and grab Abuhanya and try to pull him down before the ball got there.
So it'll be 1st and 10 after that pass interference call. It'll place the ball at the 49-yard line. There's 57 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Tornadoes trying to get down the field and get another touchdown. Empty backfield. Manu will look down the field. He's got a man. He'll complete it. That is to Jalen Pinson. Jalen Pinson will hustle ahead down the sidelines and pick up a first down before he's tackled. A Marable top shot. Tornado first down. 51.9 seconds to go.
And this is where Alcoa shines, Heath, is in the closing seconds.
Clock will continue to tick because he did not get out of bounds, but the Tornadoes will call a Bill Cox Furniture timeout. So now Coach Nick's talking things over with his offense and slowing the clock down so his team can try to get one more score on the board. It's been a great game so far for Alcoa. Now, we have seen a few little minor things we know that they're going to want to work on. That one drive, I'm sure Coach Nick's is certainly frustrated about the way his defense played, but I thought they really turned things up and made a lot of Maryville top shop defensive stops so far in this ball game. The rest of the way through, and Micah Jones, the interception for the defense. So far in this ball game, other than that one drive, they've really not allowed much, as they've only given Gibbs 45 total yards of offense, 35 through the air, 10 on the ground. So it's been tough sledding for the Eagles. As for the Tornadoes, 270 yards so far on offense, 114 through the air, 156 on the ground.
Exactly, Heath. And you look at the defenses, Blair Goodson, 2.5 sacks already. Darius Sutterth with, or tackles for loss, Sutterth with 2. You have Man Henry with the sack as well.
Back to it, empty backfield. Manu will look, he'll throw it down the field. This one looks like a better ball, and it is. It's caught, and it's a Tornado touchdown. Jameer Dean picks up his second touchdown of the ball game, and Alcoa back on the board yet again.
And see, it looked like he was much calmer, got the ball and just laid it out there for the receiver to run into it, not forcing the issue like he did last series.
Well, Scott, I'd be calm too if I had a player like Jameer Dean running down the football field.
Be calm with a lot of these Alcoa players.
That is the truth. 34 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Kyron Tyson will get ready for the extra point. Everyone getting set for the Tornadoes. Kick is up. Kick looks like it's right down Main Street, and it is. 45-0. Alcoa. 34 seconds remain, and Scott, if you're Gibbs and you get the football back here, more than likely a touchback, but even if Harris is able to return it and maybe get a few yards, I still think you just look at maybe running the football or taking a knee and getting to half and just trying to regroup.
Right, and we've talked about this before with other games as well, as what do you talk about at halftime. Again, you're playing a really good, very high caliber team. Struggling a little bit, trying to get something going, try to look back at maybe some little bit of some film or tape or whatever you want to call it, and just go back and look at some video. There we go. And kind of see what was working for us, and let's try to work on that. But one, get your players a little bit of confidence and try to get some points on the board.
So they'll come back out and get ready to return this kickoff. Most of the time, though, tonight, Tyson has put it in the Gibbs end zone and not allowed them to make a return. And even if they do, Scott, the player I'd probably try to keep it away from moving forward is the only playmaker we've really seen kind of make a ton of flashes on this field for Gibbs, and that's DeJuan Harris.
Yeah, a really good player. Looks like Shropshire is back there with him.
You've got Owenby about 10 yards ahead of him in case they kick a shorter kick.
And then Whaley as well.
Tyson getting his team set. You know, Scott, Gibbs will certainly have a lot to discuss at halftime. If you're the Tornadoes, you have to be pretty pleased so far with what you've seen. You can always find opportunities to correct and get better, but man, they've had a really great first half. This one looks like it will be returnable, and it is number 23, Waylon Speardowis on the return. Speardowis will get it to the 26-yard line, and now the Eagles will come out with 33 seconds to go.
Yeah, he was the one that I thought was Shropshire. Just the way the uniform was turned,
yeah.
All I could see was that 3.
Well, and here's Scott, you know, even though you're frustrated, you're down 45, you'd like to get some points on the board. What you don't want to do is try to take a shot and then give up an interception.
Right. You don't want to give up any more points, but you got to be able to do something.
So they'll come back out onto the field. Keith Jones Jr. under center.
They're just going to down it, Heath.
They'll turn, they'll hand it off.
Well, if they down it, but that was like down it.
Well, I was going to say, if they don't down it, Alcoa will down it for them as they'll take Owenby down to the turf. That clock will roll. And now, Scott, you'll see all on the sidelines, all the Gibbs players are now all bunched up together. Now the coaches are calling the rest of the team over to join them, and they're going to go make their way to the locker room and try to regroup.
Yeah, it's about what you can do. Like you said, you don't want to take a chance, fumble, or an interception and give up more points.
And so, Scott, 45-0, your score at the half, as I believe Paige Dower will be making her way out onto the field, trying to see if she can find Coach Nix to have a quick conversation with him as we make our way to the halftime show. So she's looking to catch him real quick and see kind of his thoughts of the first half so far. I'd imagine he's probably, for the most part, pretty pleased. We'll take a look now and hear what he has to say. 305 total yards of offense for the Tornadoes.
Hey guys, we have head coach Brian Nix down here with us. First, I want to talk about Manu's pass down to Jameer Dean. How important was it to see the deep pass connect there after he had maybe missed a little bit of the touch earlier in the drive?
Yeah, I think you missed a couple throws. You're going to struggle occasionally throwing the football. You know, it's not going to be perfect. Peyton Manning threw some incomplete passes, so he's not going to be perfect. I think we're starting to have unreal expectations of that kid because he's playing so good. But it was big for us to work that 2-minute drill there. You know, get in a game situation where we're working little things like we didn't get out of bounds. You know, we're always trying to refine this process, and that was a great chance for us to execute 2-minute drill and go score.
How much do you like the way your defense was able to respond after Gibbs' second drive of the game?
Yeah, I told our guys before, if these guys just lay down, I'll be sorely disappointed, and they don't. You know, I think they're coached well. They play tough. This is a good program, and I was really proud of our guys to just, weather the storm. You're not going to make every play, get lined up, stop them. They converted to 3rd down to 4th down, and to get them off the field. So really proud of them.
Thank you, Coach.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Paige. Scott, one of the things I really liked Coach Nix said there, and obviously you hear us in the booth kind of really in amazement of how well Manu has played and almost being near perfect the last few weeks. And a lot of that more is just us just kind of gushing over how good he's been, man. Just being so impressed about it. But I love his mentality of really just kind of coming to the defense of his quarterback and saying, hey, we're putting some unrealistic expectations on this young man. He's playing really well and really kind of lifting his quarterback up and saying, hey, there's hype. Sometimes you're going to get all the hype, and sometimes you're not. You're going to get a lot of the negativity. And really, as a quarterback, a lot of times you just have to be able to tune out both and keep yourself even kill and not let it bother you, not get too up, not get too down. And Manu, I feel like, has done a really good job of that. But, man, he's got such a great coaching staff, too, that's really going to be there to support him and help him do that as well.
That they does hate, but what I really like, too, is that Coach Nix had enough confidence in him. The very next drive, let's throw one down the field and see if we can't kind of get that in and get that confidence back.
Well, and he certainly did. As a beautiful pass to Jameer Dean for another Tornado touchdown. It is 45-0. Alcoa all over Gibbs at the half. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll bring things back to you to talk about the stats here in Culture Town. We'll let you know, give you an update on all the full statistical breakdown, and then later in the halftime show, Trevor Dunkel will come on as well and give you some scoreboard updates from around the area. You're listening to the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week here on 94.3 Jack FM. Abbey Carpet Game of the Week, and man, what a game it has been for the Alcoa Tornadoes, that is, as it's 45-0 at the half. Alcoa has dominated the football game so far in a game where the Gibbs Eagles came into this game really hyped up as a big-time test for them in Region 2 Class 4A. after starting the season 2-0, after starting the region 1-0, after taking care of business against Union County to begin the season. They face their toughest opponent yet, and it has been tough sledding for the Eagles so far. On the headset with me here at halftime, Coulter Tao, our incredible statistician. And Coulter, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away and update us on the stats so far.
Thanks, Heath. The Tornadoes, 305 total yards of offense, 149 of that through the air, and 156 of that on the ground. Thomas Manu's had an amazing day today. 10 completions, 13 attempts, 149 yards, and 3 touchdowns. On the ground game, Manu has 4 rush attempts for 23 yards. Jalen Penson with 2 receptions for 27 yards. Jameer Dean having a stellar day, 5 receptions, 82 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Damari DeBose on the ground game, 6 rush attempts, 63 yards, and 1 reception for 20 yards and a rushing touchdown. Candace Cherry, he's having an amazing day on the ground as well. 3 rush attempts, 50 yards, and 1 touchdown. Jacoby Cooper, 2 receptions for 20 yards and a touchdown. Now, looking at the Gibbs Eagles, they have 50 total yards of offense, 15 of that through the ground, and 35 of that through the air. Keith Jones Jr., 3 completions, 7 attempts on 35 yards. Tucker Ownbree, 7 rush attempts for 16 yards. DeJohn Harris, 7 rush attempts for 8 yards. Wyatt Shropshire, he's had a great day. 3 receptions for 35 yards.
Coulter, watching this game so far, I always feel like when you handle stats, it gives you a little bit of a different perspective. Just from those stats alone, as we will continue to move forward with the stats, but just from the Gibbs side of things, anything stood out to you so far?
I mean, they've just really been getting dominated. You know, the trick plays, the trickery hasn't been working. Alcoa has really been able to limit it. So if I'm the head coach going to the second half, you know, yes, we are down 45-0, but keep your head up. You know, don't let the mental game win. Keep your head up, go into the second half with a positive mindset.
Absolutely. You know, kind of one of the things, maybe you don't always say this out loud just yet at halftime, but I always feel like even if maybe it doesn't look like a game you're going to come back on, find some things you can build on and kind of take with you to the next game, right? Find some things that maybe you can start to get to work a little bit better than they did, and then be able to take that positivity with you into the next week and then try to continue to build off of it. But taking a look now a little bit further at the stats, I'll let you continue on. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, Scott. So Alcoa, 21 points in the first quarter, 24 in the second quarter. They have 1 penalty for 5 yards, so keeping it clean on the penalties overall. 10 first downs. Tyron Tyson, he's perfect on extra points today. 6 for 6, and he has a field goal. That field goal was 39 yards. And on the Gibbs side of the ball, they have 3 penalties for 22 yards and 2 first downs.
Tough sledding for the Eagles so far tonight. I think one of the things that stood out to me too is, as I kind of mentioned during the first half, this is a Gibbs Eagles team that really kind of likes to run the ball. And you've got an Alcoa team that's been pretty stingy, allowing running teams to move much of anything. We saw it in the Maryville game, too. Most of Maryville's yards came through the air, courtesy of Will Jones. They did not run the ball. I think Maryville had 55 total yards on the ground that first game. Not traditionally something you see from a Maryville football team, from their talented running backs they usually have in the backfield, also from their quarterbacks who usually are pretty mobile. And then last week, holding Gibbs, our bearded, to -8 rushing yards. I had to look back at that stat again when I saw your total yards of offense, 240-something, and in total passing, 256. And I said, wait a minute, that didn't line up. But then I pulled up the rushing yards, -8, made a lot more sense as to how we got to where we got to. And you're seeing it yet again tonight. So far, not a lot doing for the Gibbs offense. They've got a lot to work on. As for Alcoa, Coulter, a little bit of a different story. They've had a lot of success in the first half. Thomas Manu has had a really impressive half. 10 completions, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns. Maybe not the 6 touchdown performance last week, but again, we're not going to keep putting these unrealistic expectations on him. This is still a really impressive first half. He's played an awesome half so far for Alcoa. I'm curious, and you tell me what you think here. Do we even see Manu in the third quarter?
I mean, we're up 45-0. In the Bearden game, I don't know exactly what we were up at the half, but I know they put Luca Doherty in after the first half, so I think we're going to see the freshman out there, get him some reps in.
All right, so we'll see if Luca comes in here in a moment. Right now, here on the Stevenson Tire halftime show, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get our boys on the headset, and we'll give you some scoreboard updates from around the area. You're listening to the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week on 94.3 Jack FM. Welcome back in to the Davids Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. Keith Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel as we're getting ready for third quarter action. It is 45-0. Tornadoes dominating this football game so far and looking to see if they can keep it going here in the third quarter. Scott, already seen as you take a look over there at the kickoff return team, we've got some younger players in for Alcoa on the return. Trying to take a look at some of those numbers. I believe I saw let's see. Well, I was going to say 18. That's Manu. Can't tell who those are back to return. We'll try to give those numbers to you here in a moment if we can get a better picture of them. But we do know they've got their backup kickoff return team in. Got a Hardee's scoreboard update, 21-14 Heritage in the fourth quarter. Seems like every time South Doyle scores, Heritage has been responding. And now here come the Tornadoes on the return, waiting for a hole and taking it. And some good moves by number 16. That was Nukis Minor, the freshman wide receiver. Scott, as he made his way near the 30-yard line, a penalty flag is thrown.
That is true. I saw that and I was wondering where that was coming from. I'm looking to see what the referee is going to call. It says an illegal block in the back at the end of the play, so that's going to mark off about 10 yards against the Tornadoes.
And Scott, as they're getting lined up, our Trevor's Tornado Trivia at half was the question. I'll read the question, tell you our winner, but the question was, before today, Alcoa and Gibbs have only met up twice before in this all-time series. Alcoa winning both of those by a combined 62 points. How many points has Gibbs scored on Alcoa? The answer was 0. As Jonathan Meschendorf was the one who got that answer right. We'll have him reach out to us this week, or if we can, reach out to him and message him and try to coordinate getting him his prize. Congratulations on the victory. There's some cool stuff in that prize pack, and we can't wait to bring it to you. As Alcoa runs the football on first down, we'll get about 1. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Yeah, that was Bishop on the carry for the Tornadoes. They're going to get him some good playing time. As like to call him with that big build of his, the bus.
Well, and Scott, he has certainly earned the nickname, as last week it seemed like he let a few defenders jump on the bus for a ride and took them down the field for a really nice gain. And I'm sure we're going to see some more of that tonight. But before they can get going, we see another penalty flag on the field. And I think, Scott, this one may be on the Tornadoes as well.
It is. False starts. The Eagles went into a shift, and when they did, Alcoa's line moved just a little bit and just enough to get everyone's attention.
I'm trying to remember, Scott. I thought this maybe was it last year that they started taking a more of a look at that at maybe the collegiate and the NFL level, is that shift that teams started doing, trying to get the offense to jump first, started throwing a penalty flag on it. I don't think they've done that yet at the high school level, but maybe something they need to look into.
Yeah, good move. They looked like they were just getting set for the type of play Alcoa might call.
2nd and 13. Dougherty tries to throw it up the middle, and Scott, that's a flag. And the referee,
yes.
Man, you want to talk about an arm. If they need another backup quarterback on the Tornadoes, the referee near the 50 can certainly offer up a hand and join the team, man. He launched that puppy down the field, and that is for a referee first down. So we're here, the penalty play. It'll be a hold on the defense, and that'll move him forward.
Yeah, they'll mark this one off. They're going to call a hold on the defense. You could obviously see he had him by the arm as a receiver was trying to turn and was unable to.
Well, and Scott, I don't know if you saw the replay, but again, man, that ref had a cannon.
Yes, I saw it.
2nd and 3 now for Alcoa. That penalty they'll take as they'll move him down the football field just a little bit. Dougherty in the backfield at quarterback. Bishop to his left. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Bishop on the carry, and there he goes, bulldozing ahead. And he's going to get very close to that line.
Bishop on the carry.
They may say just short. Nope, they're going to give it to him.
And hallelujah, the Bishop got a first down. Good run by that young man. And Scott, the crazy thing is he's a pretty good running back. And
He
the
is.
thing is, he's coming in here in the second half after a 45-0 lead because there's just so many horses in the stable for Alcoa.
Well, and he's one, too, that if you really need someone to get some power up the field, he's the guy you got to call.
Doherty will turn, throw it outside. That one is complete, and a hard-fought few more yards for number 7, Landon Love, the junior wide receiver on the reception. And it'll now be second and short.
Yeah, and Alcoa had just looks like they're going to do it, going to move him anyway. Called a first down, but that's a Maryville Top Shot Tornado first down.
So moving the sticks as Doherty looks to guide his offense down the field. Doherty, a sophomore quarterback, Scott, did some really promising things last year as a freshman. Was the third string, but still got some good action here and there. And saw some flashes from that young man as he continues to mature and develop. A trips bunch formation to the left side here. He'll look to go that way and no, now cut it up the middle, spin off a defender, keep his feet churning and burning. And he will get a gain of near 6 yards. A good run by Doherty, because Doherty, you take a look at him, Scott, and you got to watch him last year, see him a little bit this year as well. He's not going to have the electrifying speed that maybe you see in a dynamic quarterback such as Thomas Manu. I think he's got a really good arm, but when he's needed, he's been able to use those wheels still and be able to pick up positive yards.
Well, and good leg drive, too, as he was able to use those legs to just kind of keep pushing the defense back and able to get those extra yards.
2nd and 4 for the Tornadoes. 6:32 and counting off the clock in the third quarter. We're under mercy roll. And there goes Bishop up the middle. Bishop turning around backwards, now backpedaling, trying to get a few more yards towards the marker. It's going to be 3rd and short.
Bishop on the carry.
Yeah, another thing also with continuing to run the ball like Alcoa is doing this half, you have the continuous clock in motion as well.
3rd and 1 for Alcoa. 6:05 to go in the third quarter. 45-0. Tornadoes on top. Alcoa 329 total yards of offense so far. 159 through the air, 170 on the ground. That trips bunch formation on the left side for the Tornadoes. Single receiver out to the right. I believe that is number 7, Landon Love. Bishop up the middle, sees nothing. Now looks to turn it up outside. Turn on the burners.
Well, it looks like you've got one referee on the line. The other one was coming up short. He's moved it as well. So, again, it looks like it's going to be another Maryville Top Shot Tornado first down, Heath.
And how about the bus, Scott, finding an extra gear in that engine and being able to get it outside and get just enough for a first down?
Well, in the smart play, he saw that the middle was blocked. He knew he wasn't going to be able to do anything. Had the thought to at least try to take it around the end, was able to get that yard and then bull his way in for that extra few inches to get that first down.
First down, ball at the 50. 5 minutes left to go in the third. Doherty gets the snap, drops back. He's got a little bit of time. Now here comes some pressure. He'll get it out. It'll be complete and caught to the 45, down at the 44. That is, 43. That is number 46 on the reception. Shelton Holt, a freshman running back.
Yeah, wide open on the side, pretty much as an outlet, and is able to get it and then gets a little bit more yards upfield to get a good short distance second down for the Tornadoes.
It'll bring up 2nd and 3. Ball on the 43. 4:25 and ticking off the clock. Doherty looking to take his team down the field and end up in the end zone. Can he get this second string offense in for their first score of the night and continue to add on for Alcoa? Doherty will turn. He'll hand the ball off, making a move, but unable to get back to the original line of scrimmage as the Eagles sniffed that one out, and they flew into the backfield and made the tackle.
Yeah, good play defensively for the Eagles as they were able to get past that line, get in the backfield, and they had about 3 or 4 players already back there.
Looked like that was, I think they're going to say that was Brody King, number 26, the freshman on the carry. And with the loss, it's now 3rd and 5. One receiver to the left, 2 out to the right with a tight end split off to the right side. The turn, the handoff, no, the fake. Doherty's going to look to throw. He'll turn, fire it outside. That one's caught by Holt. Holt will try to spin around and turn it back upfield. But Scott, he heads a little bit in the wrong direction, trying to bow it back and find an opening in the defense. It'll now bring up 4th and 6, and the Tornadoes, I imagine, will look to punt the ball away here. They will, as Manu will come out for the punting duties.
But at the moment, Heath, as well, Alcoa's eaten up about 9 minutes of the clock.
And Alcoa taking a minute to maybe think about it as the punt team was coming out, and then they got called back over to the sidelines, but now the rest of the offense is also making their way over to the sidelines. They may just take a timeout here and then just give their punt team a little bit more time to make their way onto the field and boot this one away.
Yeah, watching the clock.
Yeah. And instead, Scott, they're just going to let it roll. They're going to take a delayed game. Then they're going to punt this football away. So with that said, now the punt team will make their way out.
Yeah, using as much clock as possible as the clock is almost down to the 2-minute mark of the third quarter.
Now this clock moves quick when it's mercy roll time. And back to receive for the Gibbs Eagles. That is number 24 for Gibbs. Tucker Owenby.
Punt formation, Manu, deep for the Eagles, Oldby.
I would imagine we won't see much trickeration here, just kind of taking his time and then booting this one away. And there it goes. That one, trying to see if he can pin him inside the 20. I think he's going to do it just a touch past it. They're going to say, oh, man, he's continuing to move down the field. Wow, I thought it was going to be around the 25. The referee's saying at the 34.
Whew. Yeah, I couldn't see through the monitors. I didn't see if the ball had hit out of bounds first. But
well, and
either or, it doesn't really matter.
Here's the only thing I will say, and it got a little bit close there, I thought, to being blocked again, kind of like we saw in week 1. He takes a long time trying to see if there's an opening for him to do something, and sometimes waits just a touch too long and is a little too hesitant to make a decision. And you almost wonder if instead of trying to pin it inside the 20, he was just trying to short leg it because he didn't want it to get blocked, and that forced that ball out of bounds and maybe didn't go quite the way he wanted it to. As the Eagles will run it up the middle to Owenby on first down. Tackled by Dougherty. Dougherty, man, getting his money's worth tonight. Not only playing quarterback, but now on defense.
Yeah, a little scuffle there with number 0, Harris, for the Eagles, as he was getting into it with the defender. That was number 7, Landon Love, for Alcoa.
Jones Jr. will hand it off to Owenby. He's taken out and down for another carry. That'll end up being 3rd and short now. The clock will continue to run. See if Gibbs is in a hurry or not. It looks like they may have to get one more play off here before the end of the quarter.
It's 3rd and 2.
Play clock showing 15. About a 3 to 4 second difference here between the two. They'll hand it off and blast it at the line. Now trying to continue to drive his way forward. It looks like the refs are gonna spot it.
They're going to give it to him.
A yard ahead, so they will give him that first down. The clock will roll, and that will do it for the third quarter. So at the end of 3, 45-0, still your score, Tornadoes. We will take a break here on the Davids Abbey Carpet Game of the Week, and we'll be back for fourth quarter action here in a moment. As giving him a hug was number 21, for Alcoa. That was Lincoln Smith.
Yeah, I got a little personal there. That was a really good hug that he gave him. Looked like maybe he had missed him for years and years or something, but you still, regardless, can't do that when the ball's in the air coming towards the receiver. It gives them, or the Eagles, a free 15 yards.
Under 11 minutes to go. First down for the Eagles thanks to the penalty. And Scott, that one of the things for that young DB you want to talk to him about is you got to get your head on a swivel and get the head turned around. Instead, you were just trying to hug him to prevent him from getting to the ball. And the ref's going to see that every day of the week as they try to run the football this time. A gain of 1, and that's about it. Good job by the defense swarming to the ball.
Yeah, Heath, my grandmother could have called that one. But it looks like 10:25 left in the game as Alcoa leads the Eagles 45-0. Gibbs with the ball at the Alcoa 35-yard line, now 2nd and 8.
So 2nd and 8 for the Eagles. Let's see what play they draw up here. They'll hand it off, and he makes a man miss, and Owenby continues to push down the field.
Owenby on the carry.
Down at the 30.
Looks like they're going to give him about 4 yards on that play. Jones on the stop for Alcoa.
3rd and 4.
So now making it 3rd and 4 under 10 minutes left in the game. So again, 23 comes back, gets behind the backs, and then goes right back to his position on the as a receiver.
Scott, if it's 4th down here in a moment, if the Tornadoes do make a stop, do you go for it for Gibbs?
Yes.
Hand off to Owenby. There he goes, and it will be 4th down. A gain of a couple. It's going to be, it looks like maybe they'll just give him 1. It'll be 4th and 3.
Yeah, at this point, Heath, you're this far down in Alcoa territory. What would be the point of punting anyway?
It's 4th down.
So Gibbs will look to go for it. They'll get their team set up. Jones in the shotgun, receiver to his right. He'll send a man in motion, get the snap, hand it off on the jet sweep motion. Alcoa's going to try to get to it. Looks like, though, he's going to have some room for a 1st down.
Then a little more.
And he will.
As he takes it all the way down to the 9-yard line of Alcoa. A good 21-yard gain for the.
It was Spiridowis on the carry, the junior running back on the play. And it is now 1st and 10 for the Eagles. Ball on the 14-yard line. So the Eagles now threatening to get their first points of the day. 8:25 to go in the game. Sends a man in motion, hands it up the middle. There is Owenby up the gut.
Owenby on the carry.
And it'll be now 2nd and around 4.
Yeah, and I apologize. I said the 9 earlier. It was the 14 they started from. Now they are about at the 9-yard line. So 2nd and 5, 8 minutes left in the game.
And a good stop by the Tornadoes. It'll be 3rd and short.
Yeah, I was trying to see who that was that ran the ball.
Owenby on the carry.
That was Owenby again. He's done most of the running for the Eagles in this drive.
Tackled by Avery. It's 3rd and 1.
So 5 yards away from pay dirt, 1 yard away from a 1st down. There's the carry, lunging forward. Did he get in? And no, they're going to say he's just short. He got the 1st down, though, Scott, so just inches away from the end zone.
It's 1st and goal, Eagles.
So 1st and goal for the Eagles as they continue to keep their first-string offense out there. Tornadoes with their reserves in the game. And the Eagles may punch it in right here. Send a man in motion, turn, they'll hand it off, and he's in. Easy peasy lemon squeezy for number 24, Tucker Owenby. And that's the first score of the day for the Eagles. And Scott, the first score in the all-time series.
That's right, Heath. The first time the Eagles have put any points on the board against Alcoa in the 3 games that they have met each other.
They have. As Trevor got the trivia question earlier, they did not score in 1975. They did not score in 1976. But in 2025, they found their way into that Gibbs end zone. touchdown up and in here in the fourth quarter. There's the extra point. Is that one good as well? Why, yes, it is. And Scott, whoa, turn out the lights. The party's over. As
they
Gibbs
bring on the red
scores,
lights.
and they bring out the lights to try to pump up the crowd.
Yeah, a little blue and red flashing back and forth before they get the lights back on.
I was not prepared, Scott. The lights went out. And
Not in Georgia.
I said, wait a minute. I don't need a repeat of the Dallas-Philly game from last night.
Well, you remember a couple of years ago it happened with Alcoa, too, with the lights going out at the end of the game.
That's true.
I believe that was Bearden we were playing.
Well, listen, Sky, I don't know if I could give you all five, but if I had to talk about top five worst moments as a broadcaster at a ball game, the sinkhole at Fulton wasn't very fun. That caused the delay. And then the lightning delay in Greenville.
Oh, that was awful.
I should have packed an overnight bag. I didn't expect to be there all night. And then we didn't get to finish.
No.
That was the worst part is we kept being in delays thinking eventually we'd finish this ball game, and then they called it. And then we had to make the whole drive back home and no W to take with us.
Well, I do believe we will get this one completed.
I do think so. 7 minutes left to go, 45-7. Let's take a really quick break here on the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week, and we'll be right back.
Bishop on the carry.
Welcome back into the David's Abbey Carpet Game of the Week. Keith Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel as the Tornadoes with the ball and moving it down the football field, looking to see if they can respond with 5:52 left to go in the ball game. Gibbs got their first touchdown on the board moments ago here in the fourth. It's 45-7, and that Tornado second string offense trying to go to work here. Scott, trying to figure out who our Print FX player of the game is, brought to you by Kenny Jarvis of Farm Bureau. I'm looking at the stats. Currently, my vote, I think, is for Jameer Dean. 5 catches, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looking over to Coulter and you here to see kind of if you guys have any different thoughts. Coulter shaking his head.
I'd say no arguments here. I would think so as well.
Okay. All right, so Jameer Dean being one of the big-time players tonight. Now, Trevor did bring up another player. We've got another name to throw in the hat. Darius Suddarth leading the way for the Tornadoes on defense. 8 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. We don't always get to name a defensive player, so certainly something to consider as well.
I'll probably stick with Dean on this one for today. Just a quick update on the drive right now. Bishop with a 15-yard gain for the Tornadoes and then 3 on the last play.
It's 2nd and 7 now for Alcoa. As they'll turn, they'll hand it off, and there goes Bishop to the outside. And, man, he is a load and tough to bring down as he's just dragging guys with him near that first down marker. He's going to be just short of the first down.
Tackled by Parker.
Yeah, he took about 3 of the Eagles with him as they were trying really hard to bring him down and just anything they could do to try to tug him, get him to get off balance. So about 4:10 left in the game as Alcoa has the ball 3rd and 1, trying to get that first down and keep that clock running.
So 3rd and 1, 4 minutes to go in the ball game.
And you want to guess who it's going to?
I'm going to say Bishop.
And he just moves people out of his way. As he was able to get 7 yards on that carry. That's going to be a Maryville Top Shot Tornado first down. as Alcoa now has the ball with 3:35 left. They have moved the ball down to the Gibbs 48-yard line. Again, first down for the Tornadoes. And Alcoa just taking their time, letting the clock run down as far as it can go before taking the snap. They're just now breaking the huddle. Bishop again still in the backfield for Alcoa. Dowery takes the snap, gets a heavy rush from the Eagles as he's able to throw the ball. They're going to say a catch, or no, now they're going to say incomplete on the sideline. So that's going to bring up second down and 10 for Alcoa. Just under 3 minutes left in the game. Couldn't really tell if that was a design play or if Dougherty actually did get a low snap on that and had to improvise.
So Alcoa getting ready, and they'll break the huddle here. Continuing to rotate players into the ball game and giving some young guys some opportunity. There's the snap, there's the handoff, and there he goes. A good run for the young man, getting close to the first down. Just a couple yards away is number 28 for the Tornadoes. That is Blade Burgess, the freshman running back.
Tackle by Wilson. It's 3rd and 3.
3rd and 3 now for Alcoa. 2:04 left to go. Clock continuing to tick. After the ball game, Paige Dower will catch up with Coach Brian Nix and have a conversation with him. Also, just to let Paige know down there, we'll be having our Print FX Player of the Game brought to you by Kenny Jarvis of Farm Bureau over to her. Jameer Dean, number 0, will be our Player of the Game tonight, and we'll have Trevor try to assist in getting him over to her while she's interviewing Coach Nix. Wide open, and is he going to score? I think he's going to be just short, Scott.
So close, so close. I thought he was going to get it.
I think, let's take a look here. I think that was 13, Carson Murphy.
Yeah, Gibbs got so used to Bishop running the ball that they just completely left the receiver wide open. He was just right down the sideline. Dougherty making a great pass.
And so they'll say that he got in there. I thought he was a yard short.
I did too, the way they were indicating, but they finally indicated it looks like.
No, it was a Tornado touchdown. So Carson Murphy, the 41-yard touchdown by Luca Dougherty. And how about that? Tornadoes score again, the extra point up and doing. And what a great answer for Alcoa after giving up the touchdown. The second string for the Tornadoes drives down on the Gibbs Eagles.
Yeah, exactly, Heath. And sneaking in that Delosier auction touchdown for the Tornadoes. Kept waiting for an indication from the referee. Didn't really ever give one, but you looked at the scoreboard and they indicated as well as Alcoa gets that points across the board with 1 minute and 27 seconds left here in the game. As you mentioned, Heath, Alcoa does come up with the answer from the Eagles after they scored their touchdown. Alcoa said we can do the same thing as well.
So 1 minute 27 left to go in this game. Gibbs will get the ball back once more. I have a feeling, Scott, once they do, they'll probably run it a few times and this game will be over. Coulter had a pretty good prediction on this ball game. The Tornadoes have been able to open it up a little bit more. I think his was 38-14, if I remember correctly. One of the ones I didn't give on the air, but I was kind of wondering. I said 56-17. Tornadoes got close to that number on the offensive side. The Gibbs Eagles, unfortunately, haven't had a lot of luck on offense. But, Scott, the one good thing if you're Gibbs, maybe you take with you from this game is anytime you play a tough game that maybe kind of hurts and stings to think about, you want to try to see after the game is over, you kind of start to think about next week and how can we get it better, how can we improve, is maybe just take that drive you put together and finally scored and see if you can find some positives in that. And also maybe even look back to that second drive of the game where you really put a decent drive together, just kind of made that mistake that really kind of deflated the team for a while, and see if you can build off of it.
Right, exactly, Heath. And just like on that kickoff right there from Mason Whaley, getting the ball up to the Gibbs 47-yard line. Now you kind of see, you've seen Alcoa. Now you know what you've got to do to get to that level. Because I'll be honest with you, you've played Greenville before, and you usually see Greenville in the playoffs. But now you know, hey, this team's just a little bit more than that.
So clock will continue to roll, 15 seconds on the clock, and we are nearing our way to the end of this ball game.
Looks like they may try one more play, if anything.
Looking over to the sidelines, they'll send a man in motion. There's the snap, there's the handoff. Got a little bit of room to run. He'll pick up the first down. Gibbs past the blocker, trying to truck him to a little more. 20 near the 15 and out of bounds. But Scott, that will do it. So a great run for the Eagles to end the ball game, but that will be it. Your final score, Alcoa 52, Gibbs 7. Tornadoes pick up their first win in Class 4A Region 2. And Scott now stand at the top, battling it out for first place in the region.
That they are, Heath. And as we talked about earlier, and Trevor giving some hearty scoreboard updates, that the Anderson County Mavericks were all over the Fulton Falcons earlier. So Alcoa and Anderson County Heritage possibly as well for the moment will be sitting atop Region 2 4A.
It's been a tough game tough season, for the Fulton Falcons so far. I know one of the things we were kind of talking about as we were looking at the region, making our way over here to Corrington, was just kind of about the Fulton Falcons and some of these teams kind of in the middle or lower half of what we believe is Region 2 4A, and how these teams will kind of bounce back from some slow starts to begin the season. Looks like, unfortunately, for Fulton, that's continuing here in week 3. It's going to be really tough for them to climb out of this hole if they continue to dig themselves in it. Because I really think, Scott, there's a lot of really good teams in this region.
Oh, I believe so as well, Heath. And, don't count teams as well like Carteret or Heritage or South Dole. It's just, you've got some teams that can get out and play and can get out and beat most anybody on a given night.
Yeah, this is a really good Gibbs team. I got a chance to talk to a few fans on the Eagles side, making my way back up before the end of halftime. And one of the things they said, Scott, that they were a little disappointed in is they said, we've seen 2 games so far this season, and this is just not our best ball. We kind of just got a little bit intimidated. We made some mistakes early on, and it hurt us.
So, Ozzy, that was your quarterback. How nice was it connecting with Manu today, especially that touchdown that you had earlier in the game?
It was good. We just prepared. We've been preparing for it the whole week. We prepared good. We knew what they was going to play, man up. So we just going to take shots the whole game.
And obviously, Jameer Dean, you're our player of the game. You had a pair of touchdowns to go along with your performance today. I want to walk through that over-the-shoulder catch that you had from Manu kind of towards the end of the first half. What were you seeing on that play? How nice was it to connect with your quarterback like that?
Well, honestly, I didn't think I was going to get to it. So I tried to speed up, and then I got to it somehow. It was a nice ball.
Obviously, you guys are in 4A this season. Last year, 3A, getting your first region win in this bigger classification. How nice does that feel?
It feels great. People doubted us, say we couldn't do it. Look at us now.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Paige. We'll have Coach Nix on here soon, but what a performance by Jameer Dean tonight. 5 receptions, 82 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Young man was on a mission, and he made some big-time plays for the Tornadoes. Very impressed by his night. Great interview there with Paige, and I kind of love that him talking about, number 1, Scott, that touchdown near the end of the first half, and he said, I didn't know if I was going to get to it, but he said a great ball, and luckily I was able to catch up and make that play before I got out of bounds. And then the talk about 4A, because you wonder sometimes, what are these players really thinking about some of this stuff, the storylines, if you will, that all of us are talking about. Talking about 4A football. Are the Tornadoes ready? A lot of people wondering what that next step up's going to look like for them. We knew what they were capable of. We were just ready for other Tornadoes to show the rest of 4A, and they were too. As Jameer Dean just said, hey, a lot of people doubted us, and we came to play today.
That they did, Heath. And you look at, and again, it kind of amazes me that people don't look at Alcoa's non-region schedule. You look at teams like a Bearden, like a West, like Maryville, for example. They played people like Ravenwood before and so forth. So you can't just say, oh, they're they're this or they're that. Alcoa strives to be good and excellent every game. Coach Nix is a great coach. He's got a great staff with him, and they continue to put in the pride of being an Alcoa Tornado.
Well, Scott, the Tornadoes stay ready so they don't have to get ready. And that's one of the things that helps them each and every week. This team constantly looking to find ways to let iron sharpen iron. And we see it play out tonight after playing 2 6A opponents. They move down to 4A, their actual classification, and dominate their first game in Region 2 Class 4A, and we'll look to continue that moving forward.
Well, exactly. It's back. Now we're going to bump up to 5A next week, take on West, as I mentioned.
We're down here now with the head coach, Brian Nix. First win in the new classification in 4A. How nice does it feel to start region play 1-0?
That's what I told those guys. It's hard to do a first at Alcoa. So, there's been multiple undefeated seasons, but wins against Maryville, the state championship. So to say that you got that first 4A region win, no one can ever take that away from those guys. And we don't, there's no unimportant victories, we never get spoiled, and we'll make sure we appreciate it. We came out here and took care of business against what I thought was a good football team.
After the game, you're very complimentary of your younger players. Of course, Carson Murphy getting one of the last touchdowns of the game, but you turn your attention to the sideline, and it's Micah Jones and the rest of the team who are really hyped up for the young players. What does that say about the culture of this team?
I think that's what, I told them, every job that we give you matters. Every snap in a game matters. And so if you're the old guy, you should be there involved. You shouldn't be sitting there with your helmet off. You should be looking up in the stands, should be involved. And I think you see that. I saw it at halftime. We got Micah and D. Sutters there coaching Luca Doherty and talking to him about the things that we say to them. And because it is a strong culture because they care about each other. I always tell them, don't play for me. You play for the guy next to you. You're not going to probably in 10 years come back and hang out with me, but these guys are going to carry you the rest of your life. So I think that's we say family here, but I think these guys really embody that.
They might come back and hang out with you.
Hang out, but it won't be for long.
Last question. Jameer Dean was our player of the game, a couple of touchdowns tonight. How important has he been, especially on offense for this team this season?
I think it's just how he's worked to improve his game. Jameer coming into high school was a highly talented kid. He's finally learned to work in the weight room. He plays a lot of defense for us. He returns punts, returns kickoffs. He's getting to be one of those guys that we can ask. He can handle a ton of scheme, and he's just a fun kid to coach. He's always got a positive attitude. There's not a me guy. He's just got to get out there and block. Just a pleasure to coach, and he's skimming the surface of his ability.
Thank you so much, Coach.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Of course. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Paige. As we are going to take a quick break, when we come back, we're going to be joined by Coulter Tao as he's going to bring us some stats here for the game. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back here momentarily.
I'll do regional.
Welcome back into the David Zabby Carpet Game of the Week, 52-7. Your score, it was the Tornadoes who came away with a big-time victory. It was Jameer Dean who was our PrintFX Player of the Week, brought to you by Kenny Jarvis of Farm Bureau. And now on the headset with me, Coulter Tao, giving us our stats from tonight. Coulter, go ahead.
Thank you, Heath. The Alcoa Tornadoes, 416 total yards of offense, 210 of that on the ground and 206 of that through the air. Thomas Manu, 10 of 13, 149 yards and 3 touchdowns. The sophomore Luca Doherty, 4 completions, 5 attempts, 57 yards and a touchdown. Jameer Dean, who was the player of the game, had 5 receptions for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jermon Bishop had a great game on the ground, 8 rush attempts, 43 yards. Damari DeBose, six rush attempts for 63 yards and a rushing touchdown, and 1 reception that went 20 yards. Connis Cherry had a great game on the ground as well. 3 rush attempts for 50 yards and a touchdown. And Jacoby Cooper, 2 receptions for 20 yards and a touchdown. Now looking over at the Gibbs Eagles, 135 total yards of offense, 100 of that on the ground, and 35 of that through the air. The quarterback, Keith Jones Jr., 3 completions, 7 attempts, 35 yards. Tucker Ownby, the running back, with 14 rush attempts for 39 yards and a touchdown. Wyatt Schroesfire with 3 rush attempts, 5 yards, 3 receptions that went 35 yards.
So Coulter, as always, getting a chance to look at the game from a different lens. Some kind of final takeaways from this game.
Well, Alcoa was just able to really dominate Gibbs. Thomas Manu with another great game, and like we've seen all season, it's not one player on offense, it's multiple players, just such great depth on offense from this Alcoa team. And if I'm the Gibbs coach going into week 4, yes, we lost, yes, it's a region game, but keep your head up. There's still great experiences that you can take from this game, and they got amazing reps. And if I'm Alcoa's coach, 3-0, this is great, definitely great momentum, first region game, should keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. Well, Coulter, thanks so much for the stats. Thanks so much for your analysis. We've got on the other headset with us. I'm going to bring him into the call. Trevor Dunkel keeping up with the scoreboard updates brought to you by Hardee's. Trevor, give us some kind of final scoreboard updates from around the area.
Yeah, we'll start off in the region, as obviously that's the most important. South Doyle traveled to Heritage tonight. It was blow after blow going back and forth, but the second half belonged to Heritage. This just final, Heritage winning 35-14 to start off the season 2-0. Next week they'll be they'll be hosting Anderson County to continue their region play.
That's a big game.
Oh yeah. And then I'm surprised this game is continuing, as mercy rule should be in effect. But in the third quarter right now, Anderson County leading Fulton 46-0. Anderson about to be 1-1, as they didn't get to play their first game against Powell at the beginning of the season. Again, they'll be playing Heritage next week, so that'll be, like Heath said, that'll be a great game to pay attention to. Hopefully Heritage can hold that one off. And then Union County scoring their most of their points they've scored this season with 26, but that wasn't enough, as Carter scored 63. That one is final. Moving on to some Blount County teams, because Blount County's been dominating tonight. Maryville defeating Bearden 56-0. Maryville will be traveling to Cleveland next week to continue their region play. William Blount, we were talking about it earlier, they've scored an average of 54 points in their first 2 games this season, and they had only scored 28 by the third quarter, but they're in the fourth quarter right now with 48, leading Clinton, who has 28 right now. William Blount will be hosting Powell next week, so that'll be a good game to keep an eye on. No update from Eagleton. I've been trying to check Twitter. I can't talk, but check everywhere. All I'm seeing is still at the half, 39-7. But as long as they, continue playing like they did in the first half, that should also be a win for them, taking them to 2-1. They'll be traveling to Sullivan East High School next week. Greenback finally getting on the board against Midway, but wasn't enough, as Midway came away with that one 36-7. Greenback will be traveling to Harriman next week. And then Seymour defeating Cog County tonight 27-7. That game is final. As I mentioned earlier, Kingston had scored first on Loudon a few times, but that wasn't enough, as Loudon scored 15 unanswered points, so that ended 15-9. And then a couple more real quick. Lenore City losing to Oak Ridge 56-6 tonight. And then last but not least, I know you want to at least hear West, as that game is going to be next week for Alcoa. West was losing 7-29 at half, and it scored a few touchdowns since then. We're in the fourth quarter right now. Central still ahead, 29-21. So we'll see if maybe West can make a comeback there, or if they'll be heading to Alcoa. Or no, we're heading to West next week, but we'll be going to West with West being 0-2. So keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, we certainly will. And, Scott, as we wrap this ball game up, before we talk about that game a little bit further, final thoughts from this one.
Alcoa keeps on clicking.
They certainly do. They pick up an awesome win to start 4A football. One of the things I loved in Paige Downward's post-game interview with Coach Nix is he told his team, hey, there's not a lot of times in Alcoa where you get to do a first.
Right.
And this team gets to do a first and getting their first win in 4A football. So this team will be remembered for starting off 4A the right way in an impressive fashion. But next week, Scott, like you said earlier, they jump out of 4A for a moment and go right back up. They played in 6A first 2 games of the year, dropped down to 4 in their classification, now are going back up next week in 5A. But one thing to note, an important thing to note, that game's on Thursday. It's not on Friday. There's been a little trickery that's thrown us off as well. As the Alcoa website said, that game was on Friday. We thought the same. We got some clarification from Josh Stevens, and he let us know it is actually indeed on Thursday. I did also ask him, is it the only game in the regular season on Thursday? Just to make sure we knew. He said yes.
All right,
so
good deal.
That game will be on Thursday next week on 94.3 Jack FM on Thursday night. It should start back, I would imagine, at the same time we've been playing up until this week at 7 p.m. But just keep up to date on 2 Hype Sports. We'll do our best to try to alert you official game times once we have confirmation. But we appreciate you tuning into the call tonight. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. It was great, Scott, for you to be able to come back home, if you will, to Gibbs High School. Saw some friends.
See some old friends, exactly.
You did. We got to catch up with some old friends before the game started, and then got some really nice hospitality from a really incredible Gibbs program. Scott, I saw even the paper towels around here said Scott on them, and I was like, man, they're really welcoming him back in style.
I know. I feel like I'm at Maryville College.
But what a win for Alcoa. Your final score, Alcoa 52, Gibbs 7. For Scott Dunkel, myself, Coulter, Trevor Dunkel, Devin in the studio, Tim Stringfellow, and the rest of the gang, Adrian Harrell, Paige Dower, and everyone holding it down. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, we say so long, good night, and yes, that just happened.